Nioh is as challenging as it is satisfying, and this has continued on to Nioh 2 as well. And now, to celebrate the success of the series, Sony Interactive are releasing the 2 as a package deal on PlayStation 5, while Koei Tecmo releases Nioh 2 on PC in early February alongside all of its DLC. Here's 5 things you need to know about Nioh. These days, we don't really get to play demos of games, and so our first time playing a game is usually release day. But this in itself can cause obvious issues or balance problems, having to be patched while players are going through the game for their first time. But demos can let the team respond to feedback early on, and find these obvious issues. This was the case for Nioh as well. Usually demos will be released way later on, but they made sure it came out during development, so they could create a game sculpted to the way people would actually play it. An unintended but welcome side effect was that it created a lot of word of mouth for the game. What better way to market than letting people play and decide for themselves? For this reason, they also created demos for Nioh 2 as well. After the success of Dark Souls, there were a lot of other attempts at creating similar action RPGs with that distinct level of difficulty, and there were mixed results. This type of game is called Shinige, or dying games, where you're expected to have to try again. Team Ninja producer Yosuke Hayashi was enamored by these games, and wanted to have a go at creating one himself. He'd already been working on Nioh for over a decade, having been shown off at E3 2005. 10 years later, it was reintroduced as the tense and calculated action RPG it is today. Nioh always had a distinct Japanese theme, but they figured this would be a good addition to this kind of Souls game. Of course, this was before Sekiro, but they thought that this would be something that would be more popular in Japan, and so they made it with Japan in mind, while Sony Interactive published it worldwide. But what they found was that it was surprisingly popular in the West, and in fact, all the Japanese things they thought would put off Western fans was actually part of the appeal. Funnily enough, despite the traditional wisdom that you need to change your product to suit the West, in some cases, like with both Yakuza and Nioh, they became popular largely because they weren't made to pander to overseas players. So with Nioh 2, they went all in, focusing on the mysticism of the yokai in late 1500s Japan. Historical games are no stranger to publisher Koei Tecmo, and so Nioh was originally pitched with the publisher's expertise in mind. Games like Dynasty Warriors and Nobunaga's Ambition were careful to balance the heightened reality of these battles with the authentic historical facts, and so Nioh was created with that idea as well. In the second game, they tried to cover history in more detail. A lot of historical facts were left unexplained in the original game, since they had Japanese players in mind who would have learnt these things in school. But now they're using it as an opportunity to create Japanese historical fiction for the world. At the time of the original Nioh, Team Ninja was in a weird place. Dead or Alive games weren't selling outside of Japan, and the Ninja Gaiden series had failed to impress in the last decade. In fact, their biggest success was Hyrule Warriors, which they worked with Nintendo and Omega Force on. So in this way, Nioh was Team Ninja's way of finding a place within the games industry, finally creating their own franchise that was popular worldwide again. It's good to see Team Ninja back on the world stage. Thanks for watching OtaQuest in Japan. Feel free to subscribe to find out more about the art and creation of Japanese pop culture.